AG from Mueller, she wrote. Here she is from the Daily Beans and Mueller, she wrote. Allison Gill. Hi, honey. I was like, who did I steal that from? Oh, Allison.
That's right.
I try to credit you.
Thank you. Yeah, although we were talking about the other Judge Jackson, Amy Berman. So,
I know.
But yeah,
it doesn't matter. It was still stolen material, and I acknowledge you. Okay, so did you feel the same fury? I'm sure a lot of women had watching. Did anyone let her finish an answer yesterday?
Oh, and the worst were Holly and Graham and Ted Cruz, of course. And, talking about weirdos doing the right thing, Republicans doing the right thing, Alan Dershowitz, Captain Underpants, put out a video this morning saying that Ted Cruz was a bigot. I was like, wow, if Dershowitz isn't on your side,
You've lost the Dersh. If you've lost Captain Underpants, that's it. Wow. So much to talk about. Obviously, with Ukraine and Supreme Court stuff, there's just. But aren't you just like, oh, okay? So 2 other huge, giant felonies are confirmed of Donald Trump between Mo Brooks and the resignation letter from the Manhattan DA. What would you like to talk about first? Well,
I am.
Go ahead.
I am excruciatingly upset, to put it lightly, about what's coming out of the Manhattan District Attorney's Office and Alvin Bragg. Pomerantz and Dunn resigned. I was upset. I said, I want to know what happened. I want to read their letters. And one of their letters got leaked. I don't know who leaked it or why. That's another conversation for another day. And we had credible evidence beyond a reasonable doubt to secure a conviction that Donald Trump committed felonies, and a couple more people to bring in front of the grand jury. And Bragg stopped us. And so we resigned because that is a huge miscarriage of justice. And Bragg's office is like, well, this is a good faith disagreement about prosecutorial discretion. We just need some more evidence. I'd like to see more evidence. But that I call BS on, because if you wanted more evidence, you would have allowed those key witnesses to testify before the grand jury to get more evidence. So I smell corruption. Something is rotten in New York.
Yeah. But but AG, to your point, then why didn't Alvin Bragg just say, here's our declination and we don't have enough to prosecute it? But he didn't. He said, oh, no, it's ongoing. And I've put you're right. The whole thing doesn't smell right, does it?
No. And the reason he didn't do that is because New York would rise up in the streets and be angry about it. So yeah. He's hiding. He's a coward. I understand there's a lot of folks out there like our friend Daniel Goldman who says this was a good faith thing and we didn't think there'd be a conviction and et cetera, but it's not lining up.
You and I will fight over our man Glenn Kirshner like 2 women on Jerry Springer, but he'll be on my show tomorrow.
Yes.
See what he thinks. But yeah, you also had a bunch of tweets just breaking. Congressman Mo Brooks says in his new statement, Donald Trump asked me to rescind the 2020 election, immediately remove Joe Biden from the White House, immediately put President Trump back in the White House, hold a new special election for the presidency. And you just said, hey, Mo Brooks, now that Donald has thrown you under the bus, which I'm surprised you didn't see coming, the only way to salvage your reputation is to testify to the January 6th committee and the Justice Department. Will he? Now what? Because you're like, okay, that's another more evidence of an absolute, crime that he is. I mean, I don't know which movie it is when all the villains turn on each other, but it's that.
Suicide Squad.
Sure. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, it's the circular firing squad. And I say the same about Pence and Clark. Like, you can be the John Dean or you can be the John Mitchell. Right. Of this investigation, right? Which, and I'm referring back to Watergate, of course. John Dean testified and got a nice career and some book deals out of it. And he's a pundit and everybody kind of likes him. And John Mitchell went to prison for 18 months. So, I don't see how, if Trump has thrown you under the bus and you don't have Trump's base anymore and everyone hates you, if you want like 6 more friends, at least, the only thing you can do is fully cooperate and take the Jamie Lannister route, if you will, and try to be a hero about it and do the right thing.
Maybe even to save himself, because the fact that he wore a bulletproof, vest and was there inciting, he's part of the, right? Couldn't he also be charged himself? That's where you're like, okay, maybe he's going to cooperate. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not sure. It might be a hard road to hoe to charge him because the judge in the civil suits against Donald Trump, Mo Brooks, Don Jr., and Rudy Giuliani, the judge dismissed the cases against Mo Brooks Jr. and Rudy, but not Donald Trump. They said Donald Trump actually, okay, you can actually sue him for this, but Mo Brooks, all he needs to do is file a motion to dismiss, and he'll have those lawsuits, multiple lawsuits from the NAACP, Swalwell, Blasingame, Capitol Riot Police, thrown out. So I don't know how much criminal trouble he is in. But if he is called to testify, subpoenaed, he could be in contempt if he fails to show up. But we'll see what happens. I mean, they're running out of time. They wanted to have these hearings starting April 1st, but the investigation expanded to such a large event. Now we're hearing that the kidnapping of Governor Gretchen Whitmer was about stopping Biden from becoming president. So maybe that's now wrapped up. I don't know how far the 1-6 committee is going to go, but they need to get these hearings done before the August recess.
Yeah, for sure. Can I just say, you're the only person I feel like totally gets me when I keep saying over and over, this is all one story, media. This is all one story. Everything. Russia, Ukraine, Trump. And you just said Putin-backed, this is what I talk about all the time, Putin-backed, Manafort-groomed fascist Viktor Yanukovych was ousted by the Ukrainian people and now Putin is trying to reinstall him. Putin-backed, Manafort-groomed fascist Donald Trump was ousted by the American people and now Putin is trying to reinstall him. I mean, he went on to say this is probably way out in super space beans territory, but I'm wondering if the Manafort debacle in Miami has anything to do with where Andrew Weissman has been. I know he's done a handful of op-ed reports and podcast appearances, but he's radio silent for a long time. I don't know if people get, like, it wasn't his passport expired.
Right.
It was revoked. And so that's what I was saying. I'm like, oh, is Putin sending him back to the Ukraine to reinstall the same puppet? Or, I mean, it's, what do you think is going on with this?
Well, it could be something as simple as an admin error, right? I worked for the federal government for a long time. We make a lot of admin errors in the federal government. And when his passports were revoked after he was convicted, they may not have reinstated them after he was pardoned. And so it may just be he needs to reapply and he can travel again. What the interesting question is, the important question is why was he going to Dubai, where all of the Russian oligarchs and their yachts are fleeing to right now? That's the question.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. I.e., it's all one story.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, you got
Speaking of beans territory, you said the Supreme Court declined to say Wednesday whether 73-year-old Clarence Thomas remains in the hospital, though he'd been expected to be released by Tuesday evening. I mean, there is a lot of speculation about what's going on. We thought originally they said he's going to be in for a couple days, but right? I mean, it's been, what is it, 6 now? 7?
Yeah, 6 going on 7 days in the hospital. The Supreme Court SCOTUS won't comment. He's missing arguments, but says that transcripts. There was a rumor out there that he was on a ventilator. That's been debunked. So I just want to let everybody know not to read into that too much. But it's still concerning that a Supreme Court justice has been in the hospital and we can't get an answer about it.
Yeah, no, that is, exactly. And we certainly wish him all the thoughts and prayers that they wish for RBG.
Yes. I think of Drew Barrymore in Ever After. All I ask, your majesties, is that you bestow upon him the same courtesies he has shown me.
Wow, that was highbrow. See, we need a little more highbrow because I actually did like 2 fart songs. So
you did.
We needed AG. That's why.
Thank you for crossing us up.
Yeah, guy from the reporter from Ukraine, and now AG has brought us back up.
We talked to the Ukraine this morning, Stephanie.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, check me out. Okay. You also yell out for the same legal lads and ladies I do. You said, hey, Barb McQuaid, does this count as more evidence that Donald knew he lost the election? It's in terms of the Mo Brooks thing, right? It's criminal intent is what we're looking for, right? And again, that seems like yet another giant story that says, yes, of course he knew.
It's another person who told him he lost, including like the likes of like Jason Mueller.
Right.
And Bill Barr was like, bro, you lost, bro. But what's interesting about that is I penned that tweet. I picked up my pen and wrote it. I wrote that tweet before we found out, before Kyle Cheney reported that it was after Labor Day, 8 months after Biden was in office, that Donald was telling Mo Brooks this. And
Crazy
so
town.
that goes toward, I mean, it's just, there's so much evidence piling up for as we know, 18 U.S. Code 371 and 1512C2, conspiracy to defraud the United States,
nerd,
and obstructing an official proceeding.
Giant nerd.
That Barb McQuaid put out in this beautiful, like, mock-up charging document. that I talked to her extensively about on the Daily Beans, and and that seems to be where this is going with the Enrique Tarrio and the Proud Boys, and of course Stuart Rhodes and the Oath Keepers and their conspiracy. And I smell seditious conspiracy charges coming for Enrique Tarrio, and then some more search warrants were executed. They've asked to push the trial date back. This investigation is getting wider and taller. It's going out and up, and I think that the end goal is to implicate Donald Trump in this conspiracy because, as you know, because we talk to law nerds, you don't have to have a tacit agreement in order to be a conspirator.
Yeah, exactly.